Hey, I'm Brandon from the Raspy Voice Kids. I'm here to tell you about our upcoming tour starting in Columbus, Ohio on High Street at Gresso's Restaurant and Pub. Gresso's, Gressos. That's right. A beautiful place, so much fun. We hope you show up with us as we watch West Virginia beat the Kansas State Wildcats. That's right, I'm calling it now. We're going to beat the Kansas State Wildcats. We hope you're there to enjoy it with us. We're not only going to be partying and watching the game, we're also going to be doing our show live, so you can ask us questions. We're going to be doing giveaways. You can be a part of all that fun. And the fun won't be done because 2 weeks later, we're going to be in New York City at Jack Doyle's Restaurant and Pub doing the same thing all over again, except this time, West Virginia will be playing Oklahoma, and we'll be beating the Sooners. Going to get our first win in Big 12 play against the Sooners, and you can do that while watching it with the Raspy Voice Kids. We want you to come out. We want you to have fun. We're inviting everyone.
Raspy Voice!
You're now tuned in to the Pulse of Mountaineer Nation. That is the Raspy Voice Kids, a.k.a. Brandon Phoenix. I also hate Pitt. With Jeremy Phoenix, that is JN Fiend. And we are joined tonight by the Herd Hater.
Herd Hater!
What's up, boys? Herd Hater just got back from the mountains and couldn't wait to get on the RVK show.
We're so glad you made it back down safe and sound. And you made a conversion while you were up there.
Yeah, I sure did. I was running from a bear over top of this mountain, tried to get back to my car, and my wife and mother-in-law were up looking at them pretty leaves, and next thing you know, she was a diehard Marshall fan for about 7 years, and I chipped away at her and brought her over to the Gold and Blue, and she gave a big let's go on the Twitter account, and which kind of leads me to my first question to RVK.
Let's hear it.
Well, when Herd Hater first saw you guys, of course, I knew you guys were going to be the next version of ESPN, but we had a little sticking point on this word hate.
Yes.
How close are you guys to leaning towards the Herd Hater's point of view on the herd?
You want to answer first, Jay?
Yeah, no, I'll say, look, man, I love Herd Hater. Herd Hater! And when he talks, it's infectious. There's a lot of things that he's pushed me to the brink. He's pushed me on my feelings and, like, affected the way I feel about certain things to certain people. But Marshall, he still hasn't converted me, man. Look, I feel the same way. Our little brothers, I want them to do well. Like, I don't hate them still. I don't hate them.
So no progress.
Nah, not for me. You made progress in other areas, not on Moo.
What about Brandon?
I will tell you, man. Their fans can be insufferable in a way that I never experienced before being on Twitter. And so I can see how your experience in Huntington, your experience down there in Cabell County is different than mine. And boy, they're really eating at me, Herd Hater. They're getting a little closer.
They always say that you're a product of your environment, and Marshall made me what I am today.
They're working on it over here. I can't say I hate them yet, but I could imagine a time when I'd be less fond than I am even today.
Well, let me ask Jeremy this question. When Marshall beat the 130th ranked Charlotte, I don't even know their
Charlotte 49ers.
Oh, okay. I was going to call them the Bobcats or something like that. That must be an NBA team. And when I spoke to y'all, the first time we were talking about how Marshall's Division II national championships brought so much pride to the state. So, Jeremy, how did that Charlotte victory make you feel good?
To be honest, I had to ask a guy at work today. I was like, did you guys win? So I didn't even know who they played. That's what I'm saying. I'm unaffected. There are little brothers. I hope they do well, but I'm unaffected by Marshall. Come on.
Yeah.
They've been hitting me up with the 4-1 record.
Oh.
That they're 4-1.
Who cares?
And I try to tell them you can't compare Power 5 apples with G5 oranges.
Yeah, who cares? I would say G5 grapes.
Say, Herd Hater, you're way too big to even to respond to them.
My what?
I said you're way too big to even respond to them. Who cares about Marshall?
Well, I have to go to Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and 4th of July with those people. I have to have my statements prepared and typed out and be ready to go to battle because when you're arguing with a lunatic, it's kind of hard to make them see any type of logic. But that's why I love RVK, because you guys let me come on here and run my mouth, and I've been real excited to get back. And just wanted to ask you one question about we had a topic come up yesterday on the local radio show, and they were talking about is the Big 12 rigged, and are West Virginia fans acting juvenile, and is there any virtue or dignity in sports? And just wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
For me, I think there is a level of dignity, and I'm one of those people who does not want to blame the referees for something that should never have been in the referee's control. I look at the loss to TCU as something that we should own because we're bigger than that. I feel like complaining about refs is Marshall level. I feel like complaining about refs is Big East. I feel like we're above and beyond that. We've moved past that. We're too good as a program to blame the referees for something we could have handled ourselves. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you feel that way. I'm with the rest of Mountaineer Nation. Look, we could have played better. Look, and there's plays we could have made and things we could have done. I'm not overstepping that. I did think we played well. We missed out on a few opportunities. I felt like TCU took the game, and at points. What I mean, when you pin us into our inside our 4 times in the first half, then we had to drive the whole length of the field. But I will say, on the flip side, some of them calls are ridiculous. Are you serious? I am sick and tired of the Big 12. Real talk. When we sit here talk about complaining, all right, there's one thing to complain on stuff that didn't happen. When you see slow pictures of our receiver being held, bare minimum, holding, offensive pass interference, offsetting, bare minimum. But it wasn't even offensive pass interference. I am sick and tired of the Big 12 officiating, and I'm sick of the Big 12, all of them, excluding nobody.
Yeah, but see, what I said had nothing to do with whether or not I blame the refs. What you just said is not about whether or not you blame the refs. Do you blame the refs?
I'll give them 50% of it.
You give them 50%.
I'll give straight up. We're going to get into the screen where there was downfield. The linemen were 10 yards downfield. We'll get into the interception that should have ended the game. We'll talk about the last drive.
Interception. You thought that was an interception?
Come on now.
I did not think that was an interception. I didn't.
Brandon, have you not seen the slow shots?
I saw the slow shots. The slow shots don't tell the whole story. I saw the game. I didn't think it was an interception when it happened. Now, what I will say is I don't think there was enough evidence to overturn it. That was bogus to me.
No, and that's what I'm saying. When it happened, I didn't think it was interception. The slow shots sell me on it, but here's the thing. How do you overturn that? But what solidifies it is on the very next drive, you call offensive pass interference. Are you serious?
Solidifies what?
That I hate the Big 12 referees and the Big 12 conference. No,
because
please come get us Big 12. I mean Big 10.
Big 10 is not coming to get us. Please stop talking about the Big 10. The Big 12 has made us richer than our wildest dreams. Now, the thing that gets me when people talk about conspiracies, because that's what we're really talking about. That's what herd haters talking about. Mountaineer fans who are talking about conspiracy theories. For real? What are we, Dale Gribble now? Are you kidding me? There's no chance there's a conspiracy, and here's why. This is something my father always taught me. The problem with a conspiracy theory is you gotta keep too many people quiet. If there's 1 or 2 people, you can have a conspiracy. You can't have a conspiracy with hundreds of people who are then responsible. There's no way that they're conspiring. The conspiracy would be for us because we fill a stadium full of 62,000 people instead of having it for a 45,000 seat stadium that can't be filled by the Texas Christian University Horned Frogs. There's no chance that there's a conspiracy. There's no way they're out to get us. And I don't buy the fact that Iowa State beat Oklahoma as the reason why they're putting all their eggs into TCU's basket.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
But that's what you're saying.
You're saying
you're with the rest of Mountaineer Nation. That's what the complaints are. The complaints are that the refs made us lose and that it was a conspiracy that they made us lose because Oklahoma lost to Iowa State, and so they wanted to have an undefeated team.
I won't say it's because of Iowa State. I will say it's clear from the calls. You can watch the game. You'll see which way they're leaning. Watch the game. And here's nothing. You talk about being.
Are you kidding? They're leaning. We got so many pass interference calls. It wasn't like we got nothing all game. Who had more penalties?
Brandon, on the two biggest drives of the game. The last drive for them that would have ended their drive, and on our drive, they called holding.
Jeremy, you're making it sound like I'm saying it wasn't a bad call. Those were terrible calls. The pass interference was one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not acting like it wasn't a bad call. It was horrible. In my opinion, somebody should be in trouble over that call. There should be punishment just like they have for players when there are egregious errors. I agree with that. But to make it sound like they're out, like the referees have favorites, even big Elijah Wellman, your boy, Herd Hater, your boy, Elijah Wellman said, he was like, when they asked him about basically a conspiracy theory, or even if just the pressure of being on the road gets to the refs and makes them make calls for one side or the other, he said no. He's never experienced that. He's never seen it. It's never even entered big Elijah Wellman's mind. And I'm sorry, I'm going with the players and the coaches. Not because they were good calls. They were terrible calls, but because there's no conspiracy, and that's not why we lost.
I'll say two things. The first thing is, I hear what you're saying, and I disagree. I watched the game. Are you serious? Watch some calls. The guy goes out of bounds. They throw a flag on a personal foul out of bounds. Then they come back and they pick up the flag. Are you serious? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they think they put their eggs in TCU's basket. I'm saying in that game, I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying those referees on the field.
Why do they want them to win? Why do those referees want TCU to win? Why?
Maybe their daughter goes there.
And
maybe their father.
So what you're telling me is
maybe they want true Big 12 teams that are down there with the rest of them. I don't know.
TCU's not a true.
I don't know.
TCU's not a true Big 12 team. Not only that, so you're telling me that all those teams, all those refs wanted TCU to win, and they're going to all keep it quiet. You'll never hear about it.
I'm saying I saw what I saw on the field. And that's undeniable. I can't give you the reasonings. I can't justify anything. All I'm saying is I saw what I saw on the field. And I saw it consistently throughout the game. And what I'll also say is, for people who act like we're ridiculous, and everybody, Mountaineer Nation is not isolated. Every fan club team, every team that loses, their fans say the same thing. And most of the time, it's crap. This time is through, though. Yeah. This time is through, though.
That is the best. That's the best part of this whole conversation. Most of the time it's crap, except for this time. I just think that we got pinned on the 1, 3, 5, and 6 yard line in the first half. We made the adjustment, started going after the punter, and he didn't pin us like that again in the second half. Will Greer missed a wide open David Sills on the first drive. That's the difference in the game, or that's close to the difference in the game. We got a field goal. Mike Molina misses an easy chip shot field goal. Will Greer throws a terrible interception. And I'm not hating on Will Greer because the man was ridiculous. I'm not just going over his stats. His stats were immaculate. Well, not immaculate, but they were really, really good stats. Even for Will Greer, they were impressive. But they were even more impressive if you watched the game and you saw what he overcame in order to get those stats. Beating sacks, breaking out, making runs in important critical situations, extending plays to make throws that most people cannot make when they have a clean pocket. Kenny Hill included. Our running game was excellent. Justin Crawford going over 100 yards again. The defense, oh my goodness, the defense holding TCU to 7 points. Yep. 7 points in the first half. Balled out of control. David Long balled out of control. Kaiser White, they looked and played so well, but they weren't perfect. They got beat in situations where they should not have been beat. They had a chance to win the game. They didn't finish drives. They turned the ball over. That is not on the referees. I agree. I agree with you. And we didn't do everything perfect. I'm just saying, when you have big plays, when you have those plays, I can see if the offensive pass interference was called on a touchdown play. I can see if they called that on a touchdown play, we took it back. Then I can see blaming the refs. You're talking about first down on the 25-yard line. It would have given us 1st and 10 on the 35, on the minus 35, on our side of the field. I'm not saying we wouldn't have done anything on that drive, but it's not a guarantee we're on our side of the field. It put us in a hole that was next to impossible to get out of. That's for sure. But we're acting like that call was what changed the game.
Hey, that call. Where did that call come? On the heels of another call that did lead to a touchdown. No, stop. The drive stops with that interception. They do not get 77 points. They do not go up 31-24.
And the
next call comes on the heels.
And the game is tied. We're not winning. It's not like we were up 27-24. We're tied.
I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, we're tied in that situation.
Back to back.
Jeremy.
Game-winning drive. back to back.
Why did he?
I'm sorry, I gotta say it's 50%.
Why didn't he pick that ball off clean? It's such an easy catch. There's nobody around him. Just catch the ball. Fall down, drag your feet. First of all, he bobbles it. Then he takes 2 steps instead of just falling down. That's terrible. And I'm not even mad at the dude. I'm not mad at the dude.
And because he didn't do it perfectly, it was in the ref's hands. You know who also shouldn't have thrown that pass? Do you know who shouldn't hit our man out of bounds for a 15-yard gain? Do you know who shouldn't grab our offensive receiver's shirt? But you know what happened? The refs gave him the benefit of doubt, so they got away with it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we played perfect.
The 15-yard penalty we scored a touchdown on, so you can't include that in how they beat us.
I'm just saying I'm just feeling like it shows intentions, especially because they overturned it. The flag was thrown.
That's what's getting me. The intention. I just cannot believe people believe that the referees intended for us to lose. They were out to get us. I just don't believe it. They gave us first downs on stuff where they didn't even spot the ball. I'm sorry. I can't ride with.
Okay. I'm not going to convince you, but all I'm going to say is I thoroughly disagree, and I say that for that game, for whatever reason,
but you're also an announcer guy. You're also a guy who says the announcers wanted us to lose. Like, you also do that.
I can hear them when they do. Look, no. I'm just going how I see it. All
right, Herd Hater, you got another question for us?
Well, I wanted to throw in the fact that Herd Haters had some real close conversation with Division I referees on basketball, football. And one of them is pretty high up the ladder. And he told me there's only 2 types of calls in a football game. He said one is a competitive call and another one's an entertainment call. And when you see the entertainment call, your team is done. And that's what I saw in that game. So I'm siding with Jeremy. I believe it is a conspiracy. I believe it comes from the top. I believe that since the coaches can't speak about it, your dad, my dad always told us that it wasn't the referees. And then you get around a bunch of referees and they tell you that they can control a game and make it shift on any one call that are NCAA officials. You know, that's conspiracy. And when the call went against us, especially the pass interference one, then every call after that was just an entertainment call, just to keep you watching, just to keep you involved in the game. Just like in basketball, they'll say, well, the fouls were even, but yet they called the last 5 fouls in the last 30 seconds of the second half. And then it looks good on paper. If it's not rigged, if it's not a conspiracy, then let the coaches, players, athletic directors speak their piece. This is America. If you can't criticize a referee, something's wrong.
We got beat.
So whoever's controlling that, don't say nothing bad about the refs. And like you said, it takes a lot of people to keep things quiet. TV announcers say don't blame the refs. Radio announcers say don't blame the refs. Athletic directors say don't blame the refs. Elijah Wellman's dad, I know him, don't blame the refs. I'm just saying, I'm sticking with Jeremy on this, and I'll keep quiet after that. But the one thing that got me on that is, if it's not a conspiracy, I'd like to ask RVK, can you all come up with a reason or a few reasons why players, ADs, coaches cannot criticize officials after the game?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you don't want to make a mockery of your league. You don't want to sound like WWE wrestling, which is what it turns into. I think you don't want people to start thinking it's rigged, because if you think it is rigged, if you think it is WWE, then I've got less incentive to watch because I think it's already been decided. And also gambling. Gambling's another reason. That's a big elephant in the room. Nobody wants to say, but gambling's a big reason why.
I also think I agree with everything you said. I don't think it's as rigged as Herd Hater. I do feel like those refs wanted TCU to win. I don't know how deep it goes, but I'll also say part of the thing is the reason why you can't criticize is because you don't want to intimidate the refs.
Yeah, you
want them to be thinking clear head the next game. So I understand not making statements about calls, because you don't want them going in thinking, I just got killed, I just got crushed by all these people, I'm going to make up for it. Or you want them to make the most honest calls they can. That didn't happen, but you want them to. So
Listen, man.
So,
I mean, I don't know why they need
let me
clear
ask-
heads if it's rigged. I mean, what do you need a clear head for? But anyway.
Well, you guys, when you watch a game, you know who the best players on the field.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you watch the game, and shouldn't we at least know who are the highest ranked statistical officials on the field
I know the
per
I know the NFL does a rating system. I don't know that it's public, but the NFL does it, and then they reward them with playoff games and Super Bowls and things like that. I think the NBA has a rating system. I would imagine the Big 12 has a rating system as well. I don't know that, though.
What then? Shouldn't it be public?
Yeah, the trouble is, again, the intimidation factor, because people already are at the ref's throats, and you put out there, we've got the worst ref on this game. It doesn't matter if he's, can you imagine what J.N. Fiend would do with the worst ref? What Herd Hater would do with that? What the dude of West Virginia would do with that? I mean, I just feel like we're better than that. That's why I don't like the criticism. I just feel like we're too good for it. We don't need him. We don't need any help. I feel like we're too good for it. That's.
Now, I do believe that you have to be able to defeat the team across from you, and you have to be able to overcome poor officiating. I agree with that 100%. No question. I'm not criticizing that at all.
Yeah.
But it just seemed a little fishy, listen to Jeremy's explanation. I'm going to listen to it on the podcast whenever y'all put it up. I'm going to play it for my wife because she's all tore up about this conspiracy theory, Mrs. Herd Hater. And, I believe that if we was in a court of law right now, and if I was the judge, I would have to take Jeremy's point of view on this one.
Thank you.
All right.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
Next question to the biased judge.
Hey, now, remember now, it's blind justice, supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. But that was – go ahead.
No, what you got for us? Is that it?
Well, the big thing was, I was going to ask you guys to talk me off the Spruce Knob 4,863-foot ledge of the loss to TCU. Convince me we're going to beat Texas Tech because the Herd Hater's going to be in the house, and I'm going to be giving out a big Matt Jones holler for my boy when I get there.
A Matt Jones. Who? So my opinion on the game is, if you watch that game from start to finish, we're the better football team.
Agreed.
We're the better football team. We had a chance to win that game, and we could have won it handily. We didn't. They had to resort to trick plays, which anybody will tell you, if they're going to trick plays, that means you got them beat. Unfortunately, we couldn't seal the deal. We couldn't finish it. So I think TCU is a better football team than Texas Tech is. And we went into Fort Worth, played a game down to the wire, lost with some bad calls that went against us. I think we fixed that. It'll be David Long's second game back. We saw the impact he had on his very first game coming back. It'll be his second game back. I think, again, we'll see significant improvement against the Texas Tech, and a very improved Texas Tech team. And I'll admit, I was the first person to say that the GQ coach would be fired. I thought for sure there would be no Cliff Kingsbury at the end of this year. He has proven me wrong. They're ranked number 24. They're going to come storming into Morgantown, ranked, like I said, what is their record? 4-1.
Right.
And they've got a defense to match that prolific offense, but I don't think they'll be able to. I don't think they'll be able to hold up against Gibby. That's the X factor for me. I don't think their offense, with the way they throw the ball, will be able to out-scheme what Coach Tony Gibson does. He's built this defense for the Big 12, specifically for offenses like what the Red Raiders have produced, and we'll be able to defeat that. We'll also be able to run the ball better than we did last week, even though we ran well. I think Petaway and Kennedy McCoy will have better games than they did last week. That was one of the problems we had. When Crawford wasn't running, Kennedy McCoy and Martell Petaway did not really blow anybody away. I think with some heavy, hard coaching, based on the things that Spavital said and that Dana said, they'll be better. I think they'll be much better. I think we'll get more use out of Reggie Robertson this week, which will help the receivers. And I think the players are just sick. They're sick the way that we are, losing 31-24 to Virginia Tech, then matching that score 31-24 at TCU. I really, really think the players are just as sick as we are. They want to get the monkey off their back and get back in the winning way.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot too because when I walk out of that stadium, I want to walk out, being 4-2, as opposed to being the other way around, 3-3. If we can get that win, I think it's going to be a big lift for the players. But if something bad would go wrong in that game, because they can score a lot of points.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to get my Bieber on and say, I said, you're looking for the truth, the money never lies. No, he the one, yeah. Tony Gibson. This dude, we said it in Gibby We Trust, and I'm going to be for real. I was a little shaky myself. The product he put on the field, David Long, them dudes look like studs, like real ballers. So I'm going to talk you up the hill because I feel like for the first time this year, our defense finally has a real, hate to overuse the word, swagger. They really do. I think they're feeling it. I think the offense is going to come out gritty and grimy. I see good things for the rest of the entire year because I feel like this team believes in what's going on. So, for me, I honestly am more scared of Texas Tech than I was TCU. For me, they make me more nervous. But the truth is, after what I saw from the defense, and we know what we got on offense, and can you imagine the game we play a good team and we put it together all game on offense, which we still haven't, I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to go to Jerry's World and see whoever is going to be our opponent. We're going to win. I feel like we can win out, and I'm very optimistic. Like I said, we have 2 losses. We're 3-2. I'm super optimistic when I look at our offense and our defense, and I'm pumped. I'm still mad at the Big 12 refs, but from now on, hopefully we Bill Stewart, leave no doubt.
That's my key. Leave no doubt. And the other thing I want to say, you brought it up about Gibby. I talked about Gibby a little bit. You talked about Gibby even more. For everybody who was saying that we needed to get rid of Tony Gibson, for everybody who was saying we needed to get rid of the 3-3-5 because it wasn't a good product, you people are out of your minds. Look at what Tony Gibson, a West Virginia boy, born and raised, understands what this team means to this state, understands how to run a defense. Look at what he put out on the field when he was given some time. Once he figured out who his guys were, once he was able to get his boys back from injury, look what he put out there on that field. Real dogs, real Mountaineers, real West Virginia boys, people we can be proud of. Please stop questioning our man from Van, Tony Gibson.
I like that. Yeah, the one thing that I did not see that I did like that I didn't see it was there was no quit. I mean, things didn't go our way, bad call, conspiracy theories. But I still think every kid out there on that field with that gold helmet and that blue WV on, they play till the very last whistle.
You got that right.
They're starting to feel it.
That's what I love.
They're starting to feel it.
I was going to ask you all too on offense. Now I don't know anything what I'm talking about, but I know that they talk about 10 personnel,
in 11,
20
12.
personnel, however they do it. It seems to me like we're totally in a one. I know that Elijah's in there, as an H back or whatever, but a lot of one back sets. How can we get the read option or the mesh point or the play action, a little bit more to where the defense, bites on it, and we can open up some holes, for Crawford or Petaway or whoever's trying to go through there with the threat of Wield, keeping it and going.
Well, if you're looking at this last game, the thing you have to remember is that TCU basically said you're going to have to beat us with your arm. You're not going to beat us with Justin Crawford, is what they said. And they forced us, and we were able to get them on a couple of plays because it was one-on-one coverage mostly. So I don't know what you do when they load the box, when a team loads the box up, which I would imagine Texas Tech is going to do a lot of the same again, especially since they anticipate our receivers are going to get tired as they run about 90 plays each between the 4 of them. So I don't know what you really do. And again, I'm not a coach. I'm just a fan. But I think a lot of it has to do with taking what the defense gives you.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It's taking what the defense gives you. Like you said, we're not coaches. I have trusted Spav. By the way, can we talk about the job Spav's doing? I know we haven't completed some drives. I know we haven't played stellar all the time. But against Virginia Tech, we've had a couple quarters that were slow. But if you look at the numbers Will Greer's putting up and the offensive plays that are being called, I like them. There's been years when we've had good offenses and we look and think, what in the world are you doing? What you yell at the TV, come on now, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I feel like this year, granted, there's a few times I felt like he could have ran the ball a little bit more. I have trust in Spav. Spav's winning me over. This thing is working.
Yeah, it's working. Like you said, we're not completing drives, but that's on execution, I think, most of the time. I think it's mostly execution. There's 2 plays that Greer missed Sills on. Both in the first quarter, both in the first half. One was on the first drive when Sills was open in the end zone for a touchdown. Greer missed him. And the other one was in the second quarter where Greer missed Sills on a crossing route on a third down. Would have been a first down, maybe more. And then Molina missed the field goal after that. Those are situations that's not on the coach. He called the right play. So I'm with you. I like what Spav is doing. And I believe in Greer. Like, it sounds like I just called him out. And I did call out some plays that he missed on. But what he did overall made up for it. I think, it's just we got to get the execution at the right time in the right places.
Did you guys feel physically tired for our wide receivers as I did that day?
I stay on my feet the entire game, so I'm tired no matter what.
I mean, I just can only imagine, those guys going out route after route after route. And of course, I'm fat and 51 years old, so I every time somebody runs, I'm ready to sit down, no matter who it is, if I'm watching or doing it. But I just saw the energy, just sort of go out of them a little bit. And then I know it's not nothing to do with conditioning, because I know our conditioning coach does a fantastic job. But man, oh man, if we could, that's what I was wanting to know, if we could go to a little more, what happened to the diamond set?
Yeah.
Or, the 2-back set, just to, get 1 or 2 of those guys out to cut off 5-8 plays a game for them.
I think what needs to happen more than anything else is we got to get those other receivers ready to go.
Bingo.
We got to get those other receivers ready to go. Robertson, you understand because he's a true freshman. But some of those other guys, the mental mistakes they're making in practice, because that's what they were talking about. Karan White was talking about that. Dana and Spav have been talking about it. Will just doesn't trust them because they are not on the right page. They're not making the right decisions. So mentally, they're not there. I mean, we're running the ball. It's not like we're not running the ball. We're running the ball.
But if you look at the formations, there's always 3 and 4 receivers out, and look how far out they are. They're outside the hashes. What that does is it spreads the field. The reason why we're able to run is because you're taking 4 defenders from inside the box and pushing them all the way out past the hash marks. So to add a running back in the backfield brings another defender in. I don't know how. That's one of the things Spav has to work on. But if you watch the game, you spread them out, and then you run the ball with your running back. So far it seems to be working. We do need to, like you said, I think it's perfect what you said. We need to develop those backup receivers so that they can rotate in.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do about our special teams coach?
That is trouble because he's also our head coach, Mr. Dana Holgerson. I don't know what to do.
Y'all told me that I had to talk in code and I couldn't call anybody out, so that's the reason.
No, we can call him out. He's the head man. Dana takes full responsibility for it, and he should.
I know he does. I know he does.
Billy Kinney.
I'm not a Dana hater.
No, I know. You're not at all. Not at all. You support Dana for sure. Dana said that Billy Kinney was cramping again. Something's going on. We got to figure out what's going on with Billy Kinney cramping. Because that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
And
you know another thing that doesn't make sense? You know another thing that doesn't make sense? All right, so I'll give you this example. I remember playing in a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We had this dude on our team. He was sick. Every time we played a stink team, he was killing them. I mean, he was scoring bucket after bucket after bucket. And then every time we played a good team who was physical in our face, all of a sudden he went out with some cramps. My thing is, it's interesting that it happened during the Virginia Tech game in this game TCU. Oh, it didn't happen against East Carolina. Didn't happen against Delaware State. But now it's going to happen. So I find that interesting.
Well, Dana said today at his press conference, he said, whatever it is, we're going to have somebody ready. If the players can't play and we can't get production out of them, we're going to have somebody ready to play for them. And basically what he was saying, it doesn't matter why. Like, one of the things they say oftentimes is the most important part of ability is availability. And it doesn't matter why you're not available. If you're not on the field, so Billy Kinney had 1 punt for 46 yards. Billy Kinney had a punt. I believe this first punt was for 46 yards. And then, if I'm getting that right. Anyway, the point with all of that is he played well. Think about it. he had Ely had those touchbacks to start with, right?
Yeah, true.
And then we get Molina in to kick because of the wind, I believe it was. And was it Molina that kicked it out of bounds?
I don't remember.
Well, sometimes you just get a little too smart for yourself. Just stick to what's working. Stick to what's working. And then even on that muffed punt, because what's his name? Oh, number 9.
Number 9, yeah, I can remember his name.
Giovanni Stewart blocks his man into Marcus Sims. Well, Giovanni Stewart says hustling, which is what we all want him to do. Hustle, play to the whistle blows, and it just gets you. It's just a bad spot, but it's like we always have those situations. We always have those circumstances.
No, yep.
And for people,
those plays are what we call West Virginia plays. Those kind of plays always happen to us. You have those plays where something bad always happens out of nowhere. It's no one's real fault. And then you have the Ohio State plays where the ball bounces off the ground and right back to the quarterback. That's the difference.
Well, we've had those happen. Will Greer's had those happen. But anyway, and then the other hard part, Giovanni Stewart was then the guy who got beat on 3rd and 10 on that same drive after the muff punt, which gave them a first down. But he's a kid who's playing hard. So I'm not mad at those guys who are playing hard. I'm just trying to figure out why overall the special teams aren't good. The punt, people kept saying, I kept getting text messages and seeing tweets, people complaining about TCU's punter, who, by the way, was Special Teams Player of the Week, which, of course, he should be in the Big 12. He punted to the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 6. Well, there's no way to stop that. Like Dana said, what do you want me to do? Put a guy on the 1-yard line and start fielding those punts? And then if he does that, you're going to be mad when he gets a muff for a touchdown, or he gets hit and there's a safety, or, any number of things. Dana's doing the right things. Sorry. In that game, it seemed like he made the right decisions. Like, I'll give you one positive. Our coverage team is excellent. Our special teams, our punt coverage team is excellent. We're not giving up almost any yards on punts. And that's one thing he's not getting credit for because we're so busy complaining about the other things, which are legitimate because special teams have been busted since Dana's got here. So
now, and I think that the overall answer is this. Dana's already showed that if there's a better option, he'll do it. Offensively brought in Spav. If he's going to give up the offensive controls, if he's not getting done on special teams, I hope that he would bring in somebody else.
No, that's a good point. That's a great point, and that should be the end of the matter because that's the truth.
Yep.
Well, got another question for you. It's a little bit off of football, but into basketball. And this is just a herd-hater favorite. We've got Kentucky coming in and Virginia coming in. And if you had to get tickets to one of those two games, which one would you pick? And start with Jeremy.
I can't believe this is a real question. Sorry, it's Big Blue Nation. It's Coach Calipari. It's NBA players for the first 10 players on the roster. Like, it's no question. I'm going to see the Wildcats. I'm watching Coach Cal lock horns with Bobby Huggins. I want to see that go down. I want to go see it go down in Morgantown, and I will go see it go down in Morgantown.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're right because the only reason why I asked, and I knew you would laugh at it, is that I'm going to send you a couple pictures of a couple of kids Herd Hater used to coach in basketball that played basketball for Marshall. But for the last couple of weekends, they've been down at Kentucky tailgating for the football team. And then I wasn't going to say anything, so they sent me a text and said, hey, listen, you're going to go to the UK game and watch my Cats play? And I said, well, who are you talking about? You played for Marshall for 4 years. So all these Marshall pukes are buying up these Kentucky tickets to go to the WVU game. But I just wanted to hear you that because the Herd Cats and all these people that have these 14 teams, that's why I asked the first question to you guys, have I made any inroads on you with these crazy Marshall people?
Aces.
Because but I want to call him out. He's going to get this podcast. He's going to know I coached him from a little kid and he grew up. And to be honest with you, he had a shot in the Capital Classic, straight away 3-pointer to beat us. And I was sitting there and I thought, if that goes in, I'll never talk to him again. But he missed a shot and we won. But I was going to also ask Brandon the same question because the Herd Hater wants to see the Virginia game, to be honest with you. I hate Kentucky. I hate their people. I hate their fans. I can't stand the state. I especially hate the people from Marshall that think they're from Kentucky. But the Virginia's for me. But Brandon, how do you feel on this? Which one would you go on?
I'm with Jay and Fiend, man. There's no question. Everything he said is perfect. It's 100%. Plus, Issa will be back by then, and I want to see how we do. Give us a good idea of how we're going to match up, especially with the Big 12 SEC Challenge. It'd be nice to get us a win.
You think we'll pull out of that press instead of getting beat 90-45 and just try to bully them on a half-court set?
I don't think we're getting beat 90-45. I think we'll be straight. I believe in Coach Uggs, man.
No, what I meant when we played them in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that was a different team, though. That's a very different team.
Right. And I just think, I've looked at Kentucky quite a bit the last couple of weeks. And to remind that Marshall player that, hey, they didn't draft you, you went to Turdville. But anyway, if we can get down there and slow it down a little bit and get into a half-court set with them and get them frustrated and maybe have a conspiracy theory go in our favor in the Coliseum, I think we can knock them off.
Yeah.
I see the appeal to the Kentucky game. But see, that's the thing. You said a word to me the first time we spoke about education. And, down here, it's people see all this herd hater stuff I send out, and they think, what? That's just Marshall. They're no, but my goodness, they think they're Alabama in football, and they think they're Kentucky in basketball.
Yeah, they sure do.
And that's my biggest complaint with them, and it's my goal. I hope it doesn't take 7 years like my mother-in-law to convert raspy voice kids over to the dark side with the herd hater.
Hey man, it certainly won't be 7 years before we get you back on the show again.
All right, boys, I had a great time. Love RVK. Hey, graphics and stuff are looking good, and I can't wait to listen to you live on Facebook at your RVK Live in New York and in Ohio.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the shout outs. Thank you for all that you
Later,
do for
boys,
us.
Matt Jones.
Who?
Matt Jones.
Who?
Matt Herd Hating Jones.
Yeah. All right. Later on.
Later, boy.
Thanks for listening and watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Check the links in the description for all our other media outlets.
And no matter what you do, no matter what you heard, no matter what we said, don't forget, we also hate Pitt.